Hello everybody. It's a pleasure and I'm very glad to present and share this study with you in this conference today. So this study, in a sense, tries to understand the change in agricultural production due to the land degradation, and also to understand what can be a potential strategy in order for farmers to mitigate or to adapt to this land degradation. We all know about soil biodiversity and how important is soil biodiversity for human societies, and all these benefits that soil provides through the ecosystem services can have an important impact on the well-being of humans. But unfortunately, it seems that soil reaches consciousness only when it fails. And a huge contributor to this failure is agriculture and agricultural activities. And in the meantime, as there is a huge demand for food and there is an increase in the number of population, these things lead to the agricultural expansion. So, due to this, we need different land use plannings as policies to be more sustainable in order to produce food and also to conserve our environment. Agriculture biodiversity is all these crops, trees, and animals chosen by the farmer have a significant impact on soil and the complexity of the biodiversity of the agro-system. But in the meantime, agro-ecosystem has an impact on crop and livestock production systems. So this study questions whether diversification can be used as an agricultural strategy in order to reduce this environmental risk, and by environmental risk I mean land degradation, and also how diversification and soil fertility can contribute in order to agricultural productivity. So our case study is Italy, which is one of the most important producer in agricultural sector, and agriculture is a primary industry in Italy, and is a very important producer also for Europe and the rest of the world. Due to the diverse climate and landscape of Italy, it is obvious that there is a variety of crops and agricultural productivities across the country. And the key environmental problems that has been observed in Italy are the soil erosion and the water pollution. The water pollution, especially to these farmers which are located close to the sea. So the next figure, it illustrates, not very well, the quality, illustrates the soil groups that has been observed in Italy. And we can see, as I said before, due to the diverse landscape of the country, we have different kind of soil types, which the main soil type that has been used intensively in agriculture are the campy soils across the whole country also. So our data that have been used for our empirical analysis are coming from the accountancy data network from Italy, And we have information about Italian farms from a long time period, like for more than 20 years. And in our study, we finally use a very representative sample, which, as I said before, is representative for all the commercial agricultural activity in Italy. We also integrate climate data in our sample we have from the Italian farms, because climate plays a significant role in the agricultural production, especially rainfall, also for the soil condition, and temperature for the soil and the productivity of agricultural activities. So the question is how to answer our research question and the things we're trying to investigate. Well, the research question is how diversification and soil fertility can contribute to the agricultural productivity. So a way to examine the dynamic function of agricultural productivity is to relate the input of agriculture to the output of agriculture. So we consider the following specification, which in the left side of our equation you use as a dependent variable the agricultural productivity. And in the right-hand side, we use all the conventional inputs that can affect the productivity of the farm. And in order to examine how the current agricultural productivity depends on its past realization, we introduce in our model dynamic effects, which are the lag variables of the dependent variable. We also like to capture how some of independent variables can affect the productivity in a short run and in a long term. Also, as we are interested in the contribution of diversification and soil fertility to agricultural production, we're trying to see the interaction of effect between these two variables and the impact they have in the dependent variable. So, with this analysis, unfortunately, there are some issues that occur. One of them is the unobservable characteristic of the farmer, which we can observe as an example, the ability of the farmer to manage the farm, and also a big problem in this analysis is this word in red and the genetic problems that occur, that some of our dependent variables might be correlated with the error term. So, fortunately, the panel data, the nature of our data can overcome these issues, and also they can help us to capture the impact of the explanatory variables to our agricultural production. So, in order to solve all these issues, you use an Arellano bond estimator. The Arellano bond estimator provides consistent results because it uses it takes the first difference for each variable in order to get rid of the unobservable characteristic, as I said before, like the ability of the farmer to manage the farm. And also to tackle with the endogeneity problem, Arellano bond estimator uses the generalized method of moment, and by taking as instrument the lagged variables of the endogenous variables. Arellano bond estimator is very consistent for a small time of period and for a large individual sample, which is our case. So, also provides autocorrelation test. The Arellano bond estimator also provides autocorrelation tests, which is expecting the first order autocorrelation in our error to be a correlation, because we have taken the first difference and the dynamic panel dataset. And this is consistent with the theory. So after using this, this estimator, we have come to the results, which is the most important outcome of our analysis. And the statistical significance of all the variables we have used stresses the importance to use dynamic analysis in order to analyze how agriculture production and in order to analyze agriculture production. So we see here that the most interested variable is the interaction between diversification and soil fertility, which we can see that the coefficient is negative. And the interpretation behind this is that these two variables are substitute to each other, and this means that diversification can ensure that the farm can still be productive even when we have lower level of soil fertility. And in other words, this might mean that it is a potential strategy to mitigate or to adapt when we have land degradation. Also, we see that we have a significant and positive effect of the other conventional outputs. And of course, like from the climatic data set, we see that rainfall and temperature plays an important role to the agricultural productivity, but we see that we see that the coefficient of the quadratic variable is negative. That means that when we have a large amount of rain, of precipitation, or big values of temperature, that means that this has a negative effect in our production. So the conclusion of all of this analysis is that it is very, very important to use dynamic effects and dynamic analysis if you want to capture the slow change in agricultural productivity and in land use. So this data came from 20-year observations, and we can conclude that diversification is very, very important for keeping the land productive, and can be a strategy to improve or maintain our soil fertility. As we said, it is important to translate all these studies, even if it is science or socioeconomic studies like this, in order to communicate the message that we need to conserve our land, need to use more sustainable methods, policies, to policymakers and to the public. So we need to make our analysis, our research, our science more attractive in order to ring a bell to these people. So thank you very much. And at this point, I would like to thank my supervisor, Professor Salvatore Di Fago, for his support, the Train Biodiverse Network, and Marie Curie Action, which is the financial source of this project. and of course the University of Geneva. Thank you very much.
So, any questions?
Am I first? Who's first? Maybe I will ask first. Thank you. Hi, maybe, I don't know, I apologize in case I missed it because I was distracted by some noises coming from the room, but did you actually define what you mean by diversification? Is it diversification in space, in a, you know, in a farm, or diversification in time of cultures? What do you mean by diversification?
Yeah, maybe I wasn't very clear. I said that diversification is all these crop, trees, and animals chosen by the farmer. So the sample is coming from specific farms in across the country. So it's specific farms, and we also control for the operation of the farmer if it is a mixed farm between crops and livestock, or if it is only specialized in crops. And of course, we see in the results in the table have shown last that when the farmer is specialized in livestock, or it is a mixed farm, it has a positive effect in agricultural productivity.
So, just by two quick ones. What was the criteria to use the model? Is it like heuristic or empirical?
Excuse me, could you please repeat?
The model you use, yeah, is it empirical based or? Yeah,
it's an empirical model. It's a very famous model from Arellano and Bond in econometrics. It's an econometric model. So you use variables, and we try to capture the relationship between these variables. And I don't know if I mentioned that by soil fertility, I mean it's a categorical variable which is low, medium, or high fertility, which defines the texture of the soil.
Okay, I have two quick questions about the diversification of the farm. Do you have a kind of index to evaluate this diversification in a farm? And which will be the frequency of among farms that practice diversification?
Actually, each farmer reports the activities, how many crops per year, how many animals, what kind of specialization, what kind of outputs they have. So it's very specific. And actually, it's the next step, like to see exactly from a particular crop, from a particular specialization, the effect in the land degradation and the agricultural productivity.
You have an index.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. The frequency of farms that practice diversification?
The frequency is, it comes from per year, like the highest reported activity, it was 20, which means that they use 20 kind of different kind of crops, or if you are a mixed farm, crops and livestock and animals.